Welcome back, everyone, to OpenLine. Several calls talking about climate change. Have with us Dodd Galbreath. He is professor at Lipscomb, director of the Institute of Sustainable Practice. Let's go to Charles. Hello, Charles.
Hi there. Just tuned in. Didn't know if you'd had any calls yet, but this is an issue that people really need to pay attention to, in my mind. First off, someone who's a lot smarter than I am said this is a man-made problem, they're man-made solutions. And I would like to say that, individually, I've started eating differently. I don't consume foods that have traveled from South America, perhaps. Like in the wintertime, you get berries. Everybody wants their strawberries or blueberries, whatever. And I come from Peru, things from Chile. The distances traveled in the food chain make a difference. Eating less beef is one thing I do. I haven't quit it completely. I still like it. But, individually, we can do things. In common, I would love to have bought an electric car this last time I bought a car. But I'm a renter. I live in a complex, an older complex, and there's no charging here. And I hope that our legislature may see fit to perhaps start requiring a certain number of chargers be retrofitted in older complexes. The last bill that was signed by the president will help. I see there's going more charging infrastructure. And I haven't lost hope. If you lose hope, then we're going to lose this thing. But you got to stay hopeful, and you got to use your brain. And that's what I'm asking everybody to do. Just think about it. They're starting to pay attention. I know that.
I feel like you're right. All right. I appreciate your call. And the first part of the show, that's essentially what you were saying, some of that. Let's speak briefly, because we have another call here, not a ton of time, but the bill that the president just signed when it comes to cars and when it comes to charging stations and some of those things, what Charles was bringing up there, what about this bill that's just been...
Yeah, I haven't read it real closely. There's bound to be a big infrastructure investment. That's a common government role. One of the big wins is that you can get a $4,000 rebate for a used electric car now. So it's a lot more affordable for people. They've continued the $7,500 rebate. They've also made enough rebates available for 7.5 million Americans to get solar energy on their homes with some new incentives and some new policy support processes. But I think we're going to see a lot of acceleration in that direction. I don't know that it will necessarily, even in Europe where they were aggressively pursuing sustainability for the last couple of decades, there were many studies done about inequities. And so folks who don't have the means, unfortunately, tend to be at the end of the line in the history of the world's behavior about these things.
Let's go to Pat. Hello, Pat.
Yes.
Go right ahead, Pat.
Yes, I'm really enjoying this tonight and glad to see that it's being talked about. Because for so many years, people were like, this doesn't exist. And, in the last several years, they're waking up. And it's good to see. And this kind of relates to the last caller about having hope and faith. And it's a quote from one of my favorite singers who was so involved with the earth and what's going on with it and the animals, and that was John Denver. And John said, we all can't do great things, but if we all do one thing, together we can accomplish great things. And I think that is just so true, and that's what it's going to take.
Very good. Pat, thank you. Thank you very much. So the last two callers here both want to be optimistic. They both happy we're talking about this, think this is so important. Charles talking about changes he's made as far as how he's eating and that kind of thing. But they are optimistic. And I ask you about your level of optimism. And I'm interested in what you've said, but for some who didn't maybe see that at the beginning of the show, you've done this a long time. You've hit your head up against maybe a wall for a while. You know, what is your level of optimism now, and why are you where you are?
Well, one is, you know, when Ford Motor Company, who invented the automobile manufacturing process at River Rouge, comes to Tennessee and says we're going to do it again in Tennessee, that's encouraging. You know, that goes back to history. That's not a new car company that doesn't have that history promising something that they've never done. They've done it before. So, but it is, unfortunately, it's that trite phrase, you know, 1,000 points of light or 1,000,000 points of light. You know, it really does take all of us doing something. So I would encourage people to Google tonight Project Drawdown. This is a book that ranks from 0 to 100 the top strategies for combating climate change, and it gives you an idea of where you, as an individual and as a voter, or as someone who's whispering in the ear of a United States senator or writing letters to a congressman, what you should be emphasizing in your purchases, in your votes, and in your communications. And it's an excellent guide for doing that. Secondly, I would read the new climate legislation and see where opportunities for you lie. I have solar in my home. I have a hybrid car. I've been waiting for the longer life battery, the longer mileage battery. I think we're all going to have a chance to participate more aggressively. And being a vegetarian is in the top of the list, by the way, of having the biggest impact.
Really? All right, we're gonna take a break, and I'll have you read that again, the thing to read. All right, we'll take a break. Be back right after this.